Well, today we are going to study about coordination and control. There are some of the important terms we should be familiar with, and these are sensitivity. It's also known as the irritability. It is the ability of the body to respond to any of the stimulus. Now, what is a stimulus? Stimulus is actually any internal or external agent which can produce or bring a change in our body. It's the stimulus. For example, in air, water, soil, touch, temperature, pressure, or concentration of water and salts in the body, all these are the stimulus which can bring a change in our body, right? So stimulus is any agent which can bring a change. It can be even external, like the temperature which is outside the body. It can also bring change into our body, and even the temperature which is in our body can also bring a change in our body, right? And the concentration of water in our blood, concentration of salts, and even glucose in our blood, these are the internal stimulus which bring a change in our body, right? Coordination, it's actually the ability ability of the different parts of the body, right, and different parts of the body to work smoothly and effectively. There are different types of coordination. Coordination can be a chemical coordination, or it can be a novice coordination, right? The novice coordination is actually brought about by the nervous system. Nervous system further consists of central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Actually, the nervous coordination is brought about by the nervous system. The second type of coordination is the chemical coordination, which is brought about by some of the chemicals, and these chemicals are secreted by a system in our body, which is the system of all the glands in our body, which we call as the endocrine system, right? Here the question arises that in plants we do not see that any of the nervous system is present there. So how the coordination is brought about, or how coordination is carried out in plants? So the answer is that there only the chemical coordination occurs through some of the hormones which are secreted by some parts of the plant, right? Nervous system of the mammal, it consists of, or it comprises of two systems, or it is, you can say it's divided further into two systems. One is the central nervous system, right? Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. The other is the peripheral nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system consists of all the nerves in our body, whether they are coming from the brain, whether they are coming from the spinal cord, right, or they are scattered in any part of the body. So it consists of all the neurons, right? Those neurons which are coming from the brain are known as the cranial nerves, right? And those which are linked to the spinal cord, right, which are coming from the spinal cord, these are known as the spinal nerves. And it also includes the sense organs. Sense organs are those which sense or detect any of the stimulus, right? Then there are some other important terms we should be familiar with, and these are sense organs, right? Sense organ, or these are also known as the receptors. These can be cells of the body, or it can be any organ or body which receives or detect the stimulus. Stimulus is actually the change in internal or external environment. If any of the condition is set below the normal or above the normal, that is detected by some of the cells or organs in our body, which we call as the sense organs or receptors. Like there are 5 sense organs we have been studying from our childhood. That nose, which is responsible for the sense, for detecting the sense of smell. Then ear, which is responsible for detecting the sense of hearing. Tongue, which is responsible for testing the sense of taste, right? Then our skin is also a receptor, right? It's also an organ. It further contains different receptors like heat, touch, pressure, cold, right, which receives these stimulus. And then we have eye, which is responsible to receive the stimulus of vision, right? Then there is another important term which is the nerve impulse. These are actually the electrical signals, or sometimes we also say that these are the electrochemical signals. These travel like electricity, right? These are transmitted to the central nervous system by neurons or by cells, nerve cells, right? Then there are coordinators. Another is coordinators. Coordinator is the brain and the spinal cord. Yeah, these are the coordinators which collect the senses, right? Then interpret, and then they send a message to different parts of the body which has to respond. Then there's another important term. These are the effectors. Effectors are again the muscles, or these are the organs. These are mostly the muscles, or these are also the glands in our body which actually respond to the stimulus, right? Something has to be contracted, something has to be released. So these effectors are mostly the organs, or these are the muscles. These are actually the muscles, or these are actually the glands in our body which produce a response or action to the stimulus. Right, then there is a response. Response is actually the action which is produced by the effectors, right? Effectors, we have discussed, these are the muscles, or these are the glands, right? Here then there are some of the neurons, the types of the neurons. Nervous system is made up of different cells, right? Which are the nerve cells, or we also call them as the neurons. Neuron or nerve cells. Then nerve cells or neurons, they combine to form tissues, right? There are three types of neurons which are responsible for carrying a message from different parts, or from one part of the other part of the body. One is the sense neuron, or it's also known as the receptor neuron, right? It transmits impulses from receptors or sense organs to central nervous system, which are actually the coordinators, right? It transmits impulses to the coordinators or central nervous system, means to brain or to spinal cord. Here it's important, or it's better to write the word impulses. They are actually transmitting message from one part of the body to the other part, but in mark scheme you should be writing impulses, as there are marks for the impulses, there are no marks for the message, right? So the correct term or the correct word is impulses. They transmit impulses from receptors or sense organs to the central nervous system. Then we have motor neurons, right? It's the second type of the neuron. Motor neurons, they transmit impulses from central nervous system to effectors, right? From brain or spinal cord, they transmit impulses to the effectors, to muscles or to glands which have to produce any response or action according to the message which is sent by the brain or the spinal cord. Motor neuron is also known as the effector neuron. So try to learn these two names which are mentioned here for all these neurons. The third type of the neuron is relay neuron, and it's also known as the intermediate neuron. It's the third type, right? These transmit impulses within the central nervous system, right? Within brain or within spinal cord, or between brain and spinal cord, and between spinal cord and brain, right? If the message has to be sent from one part of the brain to the other part, where it will be interpreted, from where it will send message or it will send impulses to the appropriate part of the brain. So it is sent from one part of the brain to the other part through neurons which are known as the relay neurons. If the message is actually being sent to any part of the spinal cord and it has to reach to any part of the brain, so it will be sent from spinal cord to brain through some of the neurons which we call as the relay neurons, right?